Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, recognize Heckler House, Heckler House. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this week there wasn't anything major going on. I mean, we're still hearing the shit, you know, with, you know, illegitimate Biden fucking sending money, stealing, the demon rats stealing money from taxpayers and sending it to the crooked criminal organization of Ukraine for the war. Putin's not backing down from the war. People are going with it's just hilarious to see the woke mob or the leftists, you know, have meltdowns over, you know, Trump going to East Palestine or whatever the fuck it's called and helping the residents in Ohio. They have a serious TDS, including Jimmy Kimmel. You know, he just can't help himself. It's just hilarious, you know. Joe Bear, The View, blah. I can't even believe that show still exists. It's just about, you know, if you picture these old wicked witches crackling over stupid shit, that's literally The View. Other than that, that's all I've really seen. I have been watching the television show The Last of Us, and I've seen some stuff on it. This last episode, which I think I tweeted on my Twitter, you know, it was episode 6, but it's actually episode 7. But this last episode was just so fucking boring. I mean, it was boring as fuck. You know, the stars of the show, these plant zombies, you know, you hardly ever see any of them. It's always this overdrawn drama bullshit, and we didn't need this episode, period, this part of the story at all. We already knew what the fuck happened. Why the fuck do you have to do a whole fucking retarded ass episode about it? Nobody fucking cares. Like I said before, I've played the game for like 10 minutes and I thought it was dumber than shit, so I stopped playing. And there's a number of reasons why, which I think I've mentioned in a previous video. So I'm looking at this from a television viewer's point of view. Also, I really get tired of these YouTubers. I'm not going to drop names, but they know who they are. They fucking bring up Rotten Tomatoes and use Rotten Tomatoes as a base reference for audience and critic scores. You can't use Rotten Tomatoes. Stop it. Get some help. Seriously. Rotten Tomatoes has been found to skew their numbers over and over again to make the shows or the critics look better. All this woke bullshit. And it's the same with The Last of Us. I think this show sucks. It's just boring. I'm not into just drama, and them just, because they just sit around and bullshit the entire time. Oh, the world's gone to shit, blah, blah, blah. That's literally the whole show. And that's all they talk about. It's just stupid. You don't get any action hardly at all. Maybe 30-second scene with, you know, either a raider or someone who's infected. You know, it's very rare. It's just dumb. Dumb. I don't tune in to watch them fucking blah, 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 and listen to this little 20-year-old punk, you know, feminist fucking, you know, run her fucking mouth. Horrible actress. But whatever. Anyways, this last episode was just shit. It was almost as bad as the third episode. It was pretty bad. I literally almost fell asleep. Seriously, it was terrible. Anyways, enough of that. But I saw a bunch of people talking about it. Anyways, the main thing I want to talk to you about is I saw several people talking about this foreign film. It's an Indian film. And they were just talking about how it seemed really cool and blah, blah, blah. And people should just check it out, yada, yada, yada. I was like, oh, God, okay. And they gave me, you know, Gary and Az and Quarter Black Garrett gave me shit about it and told me to fucking watch it. So, and the movie's called RRR. It means like Rise, Revolution, something, I can't remember. Oh, Roar. Rise, Roar, Revolution. That's what it stands for. Which, okay, whatever. Anyways, the film is basically the story. It's basically about back when the English occupied India. Like in the 20s or 30s or the 1900s. They occupied India. This woman who's, you know, with this general or whatever, English general, his wife, she's evil as fuck. She wants to take this kid, so she pays for this kid like 2 pennies or some, 2 pounds or some shit like that. I can't remember. And then takes off with her. Well, apparently there's this guy in the village who's he's a hunter, he's a shepherd, you know, he takes care of his flock like the village is his flock. So he goes off after her. And he goes to Delhi to find her. Well, there's another guy who is going to start a revolution against the British because they killed his father. And his father kind of taught him how to be a sniper or some shit like that. And he told him, get everybody guns. I mean, I get the reference of, you know, just like we have the Second Amendment, you know, we have our guns to protect us from a tyrannical government. I get it, but at the same time, it was like your solution is, you know, get everybody a weapon so they can go around killing all the British. You know, it's, you know, like he wants them all to be in war or some shit. His people to be at war. It's kind of crazy. It's like turn them all killers. You know, okay, that's a little bit much. I understand. You know, you want to overthrow the British. We did it twice. Whipped their ass twice. That's kind of a poke at my British viewers. You know, it just not. It just. I think we were the only ones to do it too. At that time, push back on the British Empire. Because they were the top dogs back in the day. The British Empire, they were top dog for a long time. But anyways, that's basically what the story was. you know, you had this second guy, you know, he wanted to start a revolution, so he'd been going up through the ranks. You know, he signed up to be in the British Army in India. He's going up the ranks because he wants to get to the top so he can get the supply and demand of the gun, the weapons or whatever. He wants to give them to the people so they can start a revolution and take out the British and remove them from India. But because the other guy comes along to get the little girl that's part of his village, it kind of fucks shit up for him. They actually become great friends. And then they later find out who each other really is. At first, the guy who's trying to start the revolution, he kind of betrays the other guy because he's going to, you know, he's like, I can't let him interfere in my plans. I understand the situation, but I have to go through the revolution. I got to help the people. So he betrays his friend so he can start a revolution. But then he turns around and he's like, nah, fuck that, I can't do it, you know. I got to help him. So he ends up betraying the British Empire to help his friend get the girl and leave. Later on, his fiance shows up and tells, without supposedly, dude, if you've ever been in India, there's like 2 billion people in fucking India. But supposedly, you know, his fucking fiance comes from his village and finds, you know, the best friend and fucking tells him about him, and then he's all like, oh my gosh, I know who you're talking about, blah blah blah, that's my friend. I didn't know, I thought he betrayed me and blah blah blah, you know. And then he realized what the fuck was going on. He's like, oh, I just came here for the girl, he's here to help the land, all the people, I gotta go save him. So he goes in, he saves him, and they destroy the British outpost that's there in Delhi, and then they live happily ever after. That's pretty much the end of the fucking movie. Now, here are my thoughts on it. As far as, you know, I have some complaints, and there is things about the movie I did like, but there are some complaints, and it's just nitpicking. It doesn't mean it was a bad movie. I'll explain. First of all, the movie's like 4 fucking hours. So the quarter black Gary and ass, a big fuck you for making me watch a fucking almost 5 hour fucking movie. You sons of bitches. I didn't realize it was that fucking long. They didn't tell me. Oh my god, it was just so long. You know, I was just like, when's it gonna end? It's so long. Anyways, that's my major complaint. Like I said, it's nothing made, you know, it's just petty shit, but it's 4 fucking hours. Fuck. Anyways, there's one scene where the fire guy, one guy's fire, the other guy's water. The fire guy, right at the very beginning, his lieutenant or superior tells him he wants this guy rescued, threw this rock at him. So he jumps over this fucking fence into this mob. I mean, it's a huge mob of people. Huge. And he's like pushing around and moving them around and fighting them and all kinds of shit. It's a giant mob. You know, hundreds of dudes pushing up on him, but yet he's still able to keep going. And he's just a regular Joe, you know, he's not that big. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, just you know, that's not the only crazy stunt they pull. Later on in the movie, they have this one scene where the water dude's breaking out the fire guy out of the hole, you know, where they dropped him down in this hole, put this covering, and the water guy's like superhuman strength, pulls this iron bar off the fucking, you know, the hole, the pit he's in, and then props him up, puts it on his shoulders because the fire guy's legs are broken or some shit. So he puts his ass on his shoulders, and they do these really crazy ass stunts where he's catching guns and shooting at the British guards. You know, not one shot hits them, and they're doing all these crazy stunts. Climb this tower on his shoulders, and then fucking flips up on the tower, and then does this acrobatic jump where he's swinging on this pole, and they jump over the fucking like wall or fence, and he's like shooting guards off while they're tossing the guns back and forth. It was just ridiculous. It was redonkulous. It doesn't mean it wasn't entertaining. It was just redonkulous. You know, the stunts. You know, it's like watching an old kung fu martial arts film, except for, you know, in the 70s and shit, that kung fu shit, that crap they were doing in kung fu movies, they weren't using CGI. That was actually them being athletic and shit. In this, it's all CGI'd. And they're just doing outlandish crap, dude, for stunts and shit. Like I said, it doesn't mean it wasn't entertaining. I still found it entertaining. It was just redonkulous. You're just, you know, that wouldn't happen. You know, it's just, they're pushing it way past the envelope, and they're not taking it too seriously, which I kind of like. You know, it's just kind of funny, you know. But anyways, like I said, it's just tad bit complaints, you know. The other thing, the worst part of the movie, besides it being so long, was, I'm telling you, they could have shrunk this movie down to 2 fucking hours. But no, it was like every 10 minutes, they had to have some Bali song. You know, they're fucking singing. It's like a musical. I was just like, get the fuck out of here with that musical bullshit. I do not want to hear the singing and music shit. Fuck that crap. Oh my god. It's not the instrumental. It's the singing. I could care less. I don't want to hear it. I can't stand musicals. I didn't know this was a musical. And you do not need to sing and dance every 10, 15 fucking minutes to tell a fucking story. It wasn't just, you know, there was 20 songs. It was sometimes them songs, they would do it again later on, the same fucking song, and dance. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Stop. I had to fast forward through several parts of the movie because of that shit. I hate that crap. Just tell the story. You don't need to do musical numbers in the movie. I fucking hate it. Anyways, other than that, the movie was actually pretty entertaining. It was funny. It was hilarious. Because they didn't take it seriously, and they were, it was just some of the looks they gave and shit. I was just, get the fuck out of here, you know. This guy could take on fucking 500, you know, 5,000 guys by himself. You know, it was just, okay, whatever, you know. Alright, movie holics. This week is Action Week. I went ahead and from a suggestion for a review, I went ahead and decided to do a couple Wesley Snipes movies. Haven't done anything with Snipes in them, or Snipes in it. So I figured, why not? He was kind of a big action star in the 90s. So the first one I did was a suggestion. It's called Drop Zone. And it was done in 1994. And it made about 29 mil. Now, as I started watching this, I realized I'd seen it once. But it had been so long, I completely forgot about most of it. It starred Wesley Snipes, Gary Busey as the bad guy, and Yancy Butler as the, there's always a chick in the movie, always, the girl. But anyways, the movie, it's kind of sort of like Point Break in a way. In fact, I think it was probably a knockoff of that movie. Basically, you have a team of skydivers who are doing jumps for the mob or the cartel or whatever, whoever they are, drug runners. They're doing drops for them to get the names of and identities of undercover officers, DA officers. Wesley Snipes, he gets involved because him and his partner, which worked for the Marshals, the U.S. Marshals, they run across a prisoner who happens to be a computer genius. He's a tech genius, a hacker. And they decide that they're going, well, they didn't decide, but the U.S. Marshals use him and his partner to escort this guy on a plane, which, the skydivers break this guy free, from the plane, which supposedly is impossible for anyone to do, but they do it. And then Snipes figures out, oh, it's been done before, but by the military, because it's so extremely dangerous to even attempt it. But the military has done it a couple of times. They just don't go talking about it much, because most people can't do it. So he goes and asks the military if they know any experts, and they point him to a couple of experts. One of them is a bad guy, one of the bad guys, and the other one is Yancy Butler's character. They were kind of an item at one point in time, but then they broke it off. So he goes to her, and she tells him that, he couldn't have been involved, blah, blah, blah. She wasn't involved because the Snipes had already checked on her. Well, there's this little girl on the plane who I can identify one of the hijackers or whatever, the skydivers, and it happens to be, her ex. Well, Gary Busey, he kills him off, and that's when she pretty much gets involved, her and her crew. Well, they decide that they're going to go to this all-around skydiving competition thing to put on an aerial show in Washington, D.C., because it's the only time, it's like once a year during July that they can do it. Jump in D.C., that it's illegal. Otherwise, it's illegal to do it. So they end up, catching up with Gary Busey and their team when they're doing this jump. It's at night, and they have it out on top of this building, DA building, where they're trying to steal the info on, undercover DA officers. Well, they have this big old fight. Everyone pretty much dies except for the hacker. They get the hacker at the very end, and that's the end of the movie. That is alright. It's not a bad movie. It's a decent action flick. You have some decent actors in there. It's at least a one-time watch. I'm not saying it's the greatest, obviously, but it's decent. It's okay. I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. It's okay for an action flick. It's at least a one-time watch. Check it out. The next one that I watched that has Wesley Snipes star in is a movie called Passenger 57. It was done in 1992. It made about 44 million worldwide. His co-star in this, the female lead, was Alex Datcher, I think. Anyways, I may not always get the names pronounced right, but in this, there was a slew of what you call die-hard knockoff movies. Like you had Steven Seagal's Under Siege, you had Executive Decision with Kurt Russell, yada yada yada. There's several others. Anyways, this one was done on a plane, a hijacking done on a plane. Like I said, you have a bunch of these hijacking type movies, knockoffs. This is one of them, except for, like I said, it's done on a plane, kind of like Executive Decision, but a little bit different. Because half of this movie is actually done on the ground. You have half and half. So Wesley Snipes is like airport security. He's a consultant, and he does training classes for what to do in case there's a hijacking on a plane. Yeah, I know, how convenient. Anyways, he's going to go meet his new boss. He made a deal to become a vice president of this company or some shit for, dealing with airport security and hijackings and shit. So on his way there, the plane gets hijacked by a known... He's kind of a terrorist, but he's a little bit more. He's also a really ruthless killer. Well, the FBI gets on this plane without telling anybody with this prisoner that they're transporting. And of course, he's smart enough that he has people already on the plane to break him free. So they take over the plane. Wesley Snipes gets booted off the plane. Let me back up just a little bit. There's also a flight attendant, which is Alex Dutcher's part. She kind of helps him along, even though at first they got off on the wrong foot. Later on, he finds out she's on the plane as well, and they end up trying to help each other out. Anyways, Snipes gets booted off the plane, and then he has to deal with local, the whole, it's a black guy, he must, be bad, hillbilly cops, want to beat on the black guy scenario, fucking retarded. But that's how they play it with the hillbilly dumb cops with the smart black guy that they think might be a danger, you know, kind of stupid shit. Anyways, they eventually find out that Snipes is not who, they find out who he is when the FBI shows up, but Snipes has already broken free of the hillbilly cops, and he's trying to chase down the terrorist guy, the bad guy, because he let out the fuel in the plane, so the guy had to land, and while most of them are in the plane and they're trying to refuel the plane, he hopped off so he can make an escape. While they think the hillbilly cops think they're negotiating with him. So Snipes tracks him down to this carnival in this town, and they have a big fight scene. They get him, capture him, but then he's all like, "You're gonna have to let me go, or they're gonna kill the passengers." So they let the bad guy back on the plane, because he tells them that if they don't, the rest of the guys on the plane are going to kill the passengers. Snipes sneaks back on board of the plane, and he basically ends up stopping them all and saves the day. The only one who's left alive is the woman that helped the hijackers out, the female hijacker. The rest of them are all dead, including the main bad guy. You know, he kills him off too by dropping him, kicking him out of the plane, you know, at 20,000 feet. And he walks off with the flight attendant, and that's the end of the movie. It was okay for what it was. Another B-rated action movie that he did. You know, it was okay. It had decent actors in it. You know, I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you're just looking for an action flick to watch, one-time watch, you know, go ahead, check it out. It's not bad. So that's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you have any suggestions, any genre, leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. You know, something I may never have seen or even heard of, you think, you know, that's B-rated. Leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.